Hi there, I'm Dr. Scott Abrahamson, chiropractor, and this is Dr. Melissa Berry, naturopathic physician. And Dr. Berry has been specializing in a weight loss protocol over the last year, which uses a specialized diet combined with a supportive hormone. So welcome, Dr. Berry.
Thank you, Dr. Abrahamson.
Just to set the stage, why is obesity such an important issue?
Well, obesity is so rampant in our society. It is such a prevalent cause of disease, and you see increased risks of diabetes, heart disease, osteoporosis. There's so many factors that obesity can touch that it's just, there's no reason that being obese is healthy.
Yes, I guess we all kind of know that intuitively.
Yeah.
And you've seen a lot of people over the last year in your practice, and probably heard stories of them trying everything under the sun. What do people typically try, and do you have a sense for why they failed?
Well, people usually come to me after they've gone through every type of diet, from the Atkins weight loss program to the South Obese diet to yo-yo dieting to calorie restriction to calorie counting to Jenny Craig. I mean, there's so many different plans, and people try everything. And I think part of why they fail is because they're not really changing their relationship to food, and they're not changing the emotional relationship to food. And part of why this is such an effective program is because it is using a hormone to affect the hypothalamus. So we're actually changing the way the endocrine system works, how your body thinks that you should process food, where your metabolic set point is. And so I not only teach people how to eat better and to have a healthier lifestyle, but using the hormone in conjunction with that actually is like pushing reset on your factory settings of your metabolic computer.
All right, that's part of my next question is, first, why the other diets don't work, and then what is the HCG diet, and why is it different from other protocols?
So yeah, other diets don't work. I think a strength of Jenny Craig and organizations like that is because there's motivation and there's enthusiasm, and people have a reason to keep going. The HCG is so effective. So HCG is human chorionic gonadotrophin. It's the hormone that women make when they're pregnant, and the reason that it works is because it's targeting the hypothalamus, which is the master gland of the endocrine system. So it changes the function of the entire endocrine system all the way down.
What is the endocrine system?
So hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, thalamus.
Oh, okay. So all your glands.
Adrenal glands, all of the major glands that regulate all of your hormones, how your body processes food, how it stores it, and what it does with it.
So it's kind of like the air traffic control system of all the glands. It tells them all where to go and what to do and how much to put out and when.
Exactly.
The hypothalamus.
And I find too that when people are doing the HCG protocol, we have, I've seen a lot of people have problems with their thyroid, so hypothyroidism is really common. That can be completely reversed after doing the HCG protocol. Heavy menstrual cycles, problems with all kinds of female
Wow.
issues can be because the endocrine system's related. It's all
Wow.
connected. So.
Well, so just very briefly, how do people do the HCG protocol?
Well, as it's written, it was written by Dr. Simeon in 1954, and there's 4 phases that we incorporate. And first phase is doing a lot of the naturopathic therapies: nutrition, walking, water. Not really earth-shattering things, but they're the basics. They're the foundations of health, and those are definitely. This is not a Band-Aid. This is not a fad diet. This is a cure. This is teaching people tools for lifelong weight maintenance in conjunction with a hormone that basically keeps them feeling good, keeps them losing weight quickly, so the motivation is high. And I monitor people closely, so I think the accountability and the encouragement that they get from me is huge, and that's a part of any program like this. That's part of how it doesn't fail.
Sure, that makes sense.
Part of the success.
What are, in medicine we talk about indications, contraindications. What are indications for someone needing this program?
So typically I see people that have, like I was talking about, yo-yo dieted, had bulimia, anorexia, had lots of different struggles with gaining weight, losing weight, problems after pregnancy, problems due to pregnancy. Every sort of hormonal imbalance can pretty much be helped with HCG, and it in effect enacts a false state of starvation in the body like you would if you were pregnant.
All right. Is there any contraindications? people?
So contraindications, anybody that would have active liver or gallbladder disease, any problems with processing, and then any form of reproductive cancer is also a contraindication. So breast, uterine, ovarian,
Cancer.
cervical, etc.
Yeah.
Because this is a pregnancy, a hormone of pregnancy.
Sure.
So those are things that we screen for. So there's a whole lab panel that we do to make sure that all the organs of filtration are functioning and processing so that
Okay.
it doesn't overwhelm the body.
That makes sense. So you do a thorough intake to make sure that people are safe to do the program.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It's not necessarily right for everybody. This is not, a one size fits all protocol.
Sure.
So,
Well, that's why you're managing it
Yeah.
instead of people buying it online. Do people have to buy expensive or exotic foods to follow the diet?
no, but the mainstay of this diet is organic food. So part of the problem with obesity in this country is because the hypothalamus is constantly barraged with artificial sugars, artificial coloring, hydrogenated fats. Refined sugar crosses the blood-brain barrier. It directly affects the glands in the brain and affects their metabolic function. So that is how the HCG works, is because it's directly affecting the hypothalamus. And then when you change somebody's diet and you get all of the artificial stuff out, you get good fruits and vegetables in, so good fats, good meats, good fruits, good vegetables.
Right.
It's just reestablishing what a normal approach to food is.
Do people have
Okay.
to buy a lot of expensive or exotic foods to follow the 20 or 40-day period of this diet?
No, that's the beautiful thing about it, is that there isn't a fancy food. It's not prepackaged stuff. It's not stuff that you are dependent on eating or buying. It's stuff that you're going to find at your farmer's market, in your organic section of any good market, and it is about transitioning from quantity to quality.
Right. By the way, how do people measure and weigh their foods? Is that a big complicated thing?
No, and math is not my strong point, so I have this down really well. So they weigh their meat, and then you weigh their the fruit, and then you fill in all the rest of the calories with vegetables. So I have a nice little handout, and yeah, it's really easy. And then we know how many calories everything is on the protocol, and it's actually pretty simple. The first couple of days are maybe the only tricky ones, and then we get the hang of it. So
Great. How much can you lose at a time? How much can people expect going in to lose at each? Is it like a series and then you take a break and another series, or how does that work?
Well, it depends on how much weight people need to lose. Sometimes people need to do more than one round, and a round is defined as a certain amount of time. The minimum per the protocol is 23 days, and then the longest people do is 40 days. So that is a typical length of shots of injections each day for one round. And then typically we see at least a pound a day, usually about 1.4 is what I'm seeing.
So if somebody needed to lose 80 pounds, they'd have to do
You need
two
to probably
40-day.
do 2 phases.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. And what are the phases? How do those work?
So phase 1 again is the naturopathic lifestyle complete overhaul, and then phase 2 is when you're doing the injections, and that's a short period of time, and it is a 500 calorie diet, but the effect of the HCG actually mobilizes so much fat in people's bodies that they're actually processing between 1,700 and 4,000 calories a day, just from the fat coming off of the hips, the stomach, the butt, the places that we don't want it.
Well, I've heard patients say they're eating 500 calories, but they're burning 2,500,
3,000 calories.
3,000
is the
calories.
ballpark,
So,
which is part of why you're not hungry. People say, well, how do you maintain a 500 calorie diet? Well, you wouldn't be able to for very long
No.
if you weren't using the HCG, because the HCG suppresses the appetite. It has got the feedback of burning the fat, and so.
okay, so I've heard people say that when you're in a state like that, it can be dangerous. They just use a vague word, dangerous. Is it dangerous to be in that metabolic state for 20 or 40 days?
Without the HCG, yes.
Right,
But
but
with the HCG, no, because you're not only on a 500. So a 500 calorie diet by itself would be, theoretically burning your muscles and, really throwing you into starvation mode, which would only further whack out your metabolic system.
Right.
And so that is not what we're doing. This is a very controlled, specific diet that I
Okay.
monitor very closely. And with the HCG, people are actually getting a really normal number of calories, and so they're not hungry.
okay, got it. Because that keeps coming up. There's a lot. There's hardly any area of human life that has more people weighing in with opinions than
Yeah.
diet.
you.